If you are running a website for a business, providing timely estimates to your visitors is important as it increases the chance of converting them into customers. Two quick examples could be estimating how much your product or service is going to cost them, or how much money they are going to save by using your product compared to other alternatives. There are many calculator plugins in WordPress, but usually you need to purchase a subscription in order to use them. However, with a minimum amount of JavaScript and CSS, you can easily add a calculator and style it to your liking. In our hypothetical scenario, we are building an instant cash offer calculator for a real estate investment company. Visitors can enter the neighborhood they live in and the size of their house in square feet, and they get an instant offer. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Let's get started. First, we are going to create our calculator in a standalone HTML file, and later we are going to transfer it to our WordPress installation. We start by creating a new folder here called calculator and opening Visual Studio Code inside this directory. So it will be in workspace here, right here. Now we are going to create a new file called index.html, just a basic HTML file for now. Make sure just setting up our environment. Okay, looks good. Our hypothetical scenario is that we are real estate investors and the users of our site can enter the neighborhood they live in and the square footage of their house, and they will get a quick instant offer from our site. So we are going to create these inputs. First, let's make a container for our calculator, where we are going to call it calculator. So there will be two inputs. The first one will be the neighborhood, the second one will be the square footage, and an output, which is the price estimate that we can offer them. So first here there will be select with options of their neighborhood. Let's say Summerlin. Let's put two more options. Enterprise and Green Valley. Let's see that they were added. Okay, good. The second input, which we are also going to add on a div, it's going to be a way for them to input the size of their house. So input type, we are going to do a slider and a text box that will be in sync. And it will be a range with minimum value of 500 square feet and maximum value of say 10,000. Okay, and the third one is going to be an input of type text, where we will output the price. So and we also don't want them to edit this field, so it will be disabled. Okay, good. Now we are going to add some labels, because right now they're just input components. So we need to give them an ID. Let's say NBH for neighborhood here. So this will be a label for NBH neighborhood. Here this will be size, and this is the label for size. Let's say size in square feet, and this will be, let's call this estimate. This will be a label for estimate, let's say cash offer. This is the offer that we are going to make them. So we see that everything displays in one line. we would want the label to be on a separate line. So for this, we are going to change the display type of the label to block from inline. We start adding CSS. So now inside of calculator div, all the labels will have display of block. Okay, so this looks like what we wanted. And we said we also want this slider to be mirrored with a text box here, because it's not very easy to enter an accurate number using a slider. Let's say your square footage is 997, then you're gonna struggle setting it exactly on 997. So here we are also going to input, we are going to add a second input of type, this time is going to be number. Okay, good. Okay, so this is more or less how it will look. We are going to focus more on styling these components once we transfer them to WordPress. And inside this HTML, we're just going to focus on the JavaScript part and calculation. Now we are going to start adding JavaScript. So we are going to use the jQuery library because it makes it easier than just plain JavaScript. So we're going to go to their website, go to download this production version. Let's save it. It's gonna be in calculator. Just create a new folder here. Let's call it assets, and inside assets is jQuery. Okay, good. And now we are going to add it in our HTML. So script source assets jQuery. Good. First thing we want to do is to make sure every time we change this slider, the contents of this text field change, and vice versa. Make sure they are in sync. So we are gonna start by adding JavaScript at the bottom of the body section. So we are going to add event listeners on these inputs. So they will be added after the document is ready. So on document ready, we are adding a function here. Oh, first things first, these inputs need to have different IDs. We copy pasted them and they have the same ID. So let's say size slider for the slider and size text for the number input. So now we are selecting the size, let's say size slider first, size slider, and we add an input change event listener, and we are going to add a function that takes the event, and let's just output it. Make sure we wired it correctly. So console log e target value. We should see the value that the slider changed to. Go here, refresh, open the developer tools and go to console. So we should see it now. Okay, good. And now, so once this slider changes, we need to change the other input, the size text one. So we select it also with jQuery, size text, and we use the val function and to change the value of that input, and we change it to the new value that was selected inside the slider. Okay, let's refresh, and we see this works correctly. And we need to do the reverse. So inside the size text, on input change, we need to change the value of the size slider. Okay, let's try it out. So let's say we set this one to 1000, and we see it's probably correct. Let's see, 5000. Okay, yeah, 5000 is in the middle, so this is correct. Now we are going to add the function that updates the cash offer. So we are going to call this function, let's say, update offer. And this one is going to take the values from the inputs and update the cash offer text field. So first, we start by adding map a dictionary with the price per square feet in the different neighborhoods. So let's say price per square feet, and so we will have let's say Summerlin, it will be, let's say, 214. Enterprise will be 201, and Green Valley will be 185, let's say. Okay, and these options will also need to have a value representation for JavaScript. So let's say, and they need to match these three values. So this will be Summerlin. Okay, good. This will be Enterprise, and this will be GV. Okay. So now we need to get the value that the option that is selected for the neighborhood, and see the price per square feet in this neighborhood. So, and we're just gonna print it to the console for now. So we are going to using jQuery again. So we do $, and then here hashtag. We use this ID for this select, so NBH. NBH, and for now, let's just print what is selected. And we need to call this function. Let's say when we change the slider. So we call this function. We refresh. So yeah, we see right now Summerlin is selected. If we change it to Green Valley, we see GV selected. So this is good. And now instead of printing the option, we want to print the price per square feet. So price per square feet of this neighborhood name. So we see 214, which is correct, and if we change it, now we should see 185, which is also correct. Okay, good. Okay, now we want to we also want to take the size of their house and multiply it with this price per square feet. So let's say estimate, so it will be this thing multiplied, and now we do another selector. We're going to select the, let's say, size text or size slider, it doesn't matter, they're both in sync, and we need to convert this to a number. Okay, and actually let's set it in this estimate column. So we do a selector for the estimate text field, and we set the value to our estimation. So now every time we change the slider, it should work. Okay, good. One problem is that this number is very hard to read because it doesn't have the comma, so we don't know if it's like $1 million or $100,000. It's probably $1 million, but we want to format it, and groups of 3 digits. So in here we are going to use the number, and then I think it's to locale string. This should format it nicely. Let's see it. Okay, good. Now we need to update the price also when this changes. So if this changes to 2000, then yeah, the cash offer doesn't update. So we need to call the update offer in here as well. Okay, and also when we change the neighborhood, so we will do a selector for NBH for the select, and then on change we do the function, and the function will be update offer. And also if we refresh the page, we see that this text field doesn't have any default value. So we are going to set a value for both of them, initialize them with 1000. Okay, let's see it. So now, yeah, now we see this works very nicely, and if we change the neighborhood, this also updates. So far so good. One minor issue is that these two, so the slider and this text field, they're not aligned vertically, they're not centered. So we want to also do that. For this, we will add them in a separate div. So let's call this size. Let's add the size display flex direction row, and align items center. Let's see it. Okay, so now this is this looks much better. Let's 4000, yeah, this looks good. Now we are ready to transfer it to WordPress. This is my localhost WordPress installation, so it's on port 9090 WordPress. It's just a basic 2021 theme. I put in some lorem ipsum content, and we are going to add this calculator down here. So first, we are going to transfer this assets directory to my Apache root WordPress directory. So just paste it in here. We just have this jQuery function, the jQuery file. Okay, now we are ready. Actually, let's just copy the HTML here at the bottom. So in the Gutenberg editor, we do custom HTML, and we copy this entire div. Okay. We see it doesn't look great for now because we don't have the CSS, but we're gonna transfer it shortly. So we update this. Let me make this a bit bigger. And we go to the admin panel, and in the beginning I'm going to use this insert headers and footers because it's easier to edit and see the changes. Later we're going to do code snippets. I have an entire video of how to use these two plugins to add CSS and JavaScript. I'll post it in the description. So now we use this insert headers and footers. We go to settings, insert headers and footers. So first we are going to transfer this, the CSS and the jQuery. Okay. We need to indent it to the left. And also this JavaScript at the bottom in the footer. So every time we have JavaScript that does calculation is recommended to add it in a footer because the rendering of the website doesn't block. Okay, and if we refresh this, if we do preview, let's see, preview new tab. So we should see that it should look a bit better now. Okay, yeah, this is better. A few problems. So this slider, so the style comes from the theme. We need to customize it. It doesn't look very good right now, but at least we can check that it works correctly. So yeah, everything works correctly. We just need to work a bit on styling. So for now, let's say that these let's see if we refresh this page, will it? If we do preview, no, it doesn't apply the CSS. So we want these labels to look like this thing, like have the same size and the same font weight. So we go in here and we see that text is 32 pixels. So we are going to use REM instead of straight pixels because it's better for accessibility. So first let's start with that. Calculator label, and we'll do text, I think it's font size, and we're gonna do 2 REM. By default, 1 REM is 16 pixels, but if a user has a bad site, for example, they can increase it, they can scale up the entire website. So we save this thing, and now if we refresh, we see that it's the same size at this one, but it is bold, so we need to change the font weight. Let's say font weight, and I think it's normal, yes. We update it again. Okay, good. Now I think it looks much better. We also want to make this slider not this big, so we're going to try like 10 REM, which will be like 160 pixel wide. See how it looks. So we go in here, we do size of and then input type equal range, let's say with 10 REM, which should be like 160 pixels. Let's see if it's enough. Yeah, I think it's too small. Maybe 20 REM. Let's try out 20. Okay. Okay, I think this looks better. And one more thing we can try is make this thumb smaller. I think it's too big, but this comes from the theme. So let's say there's this website called CSS Tricks where we can see it's very useful resource for CSS. Style range slider. So yeah, they have an example here how to go from this to this, and styling the thumb. The problem is that we need to do custom things for WebKit, then for Mozilla, and for Internet Explorer. We're only going to do it in this video for the for Chrome, for WebKit. So we use this thing. And what was that selector? So WebKit thumb. Let's see. and we want width and height, also 2 rem. Let's see if we refresh this page. Yeah, I think now it looks a bit better. Let's try 1 rem, which should be like a circle of diameter 16 pixels. No, it's too small. 2. We'll leave it at 2. Okay, and another thing we can do is add here a heading, which says get an instant offer. We update. Now if we refresh this page, this should it didn't add it. Okay, yeah, this looks like what we wanted. We select this thing in here. The size is good, the style is good. It looks decent. That's it for today. There's one piece of homework left for the viewers, and that is transferring the CSS and JavaScript code from the Insert Headers and Footers plugin to Code Snippets. There's a video link below that shows you how to do it. I'm also linking the source code and my personal website in case you need help with your WordPress development. See you next time.